going to start. Brittany, I'll start with you. Tell us about you, yourself, your business.
All right. So I'm Brittany Stewart. I'm in the McKinney Market Center, and I have been in real estate since I was 21. So going on 17 years. I joke and say, now you all know how old I am. You're welcome. But I had a small boutique brokerage that I co-owned in Florida, which is where I'm originally from. And then my husband got the fortunate news, like most people in Dallas, we're relocating in 2 weeks. So I joined Keller Williams. Keller Williams was not heard of at the time there. And so have been here ever since, going on 7 years. I love it. I never had an assistant. I didn't have anyone helping us run the brokerage, nothing. I don't know why. Tommy, I was like your dad. It just never clicked. I never understood that whole concept of people didn't need to see me. And so my husband is also in business with me now. We have, I'll go based off what I had last week because we changed some dynamics this week, but I have 2 virtual assistants and a showing assistant who will come on as a buyer's agent for us now. And my husband is a great, he knows how to unlock doors and run signs really well. So that's our team.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that took me a second to get there, but for some reason it said the host had muted me. And so, all right. So Ryan, let's go to you.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for having me. So I'm Ryan Smith with the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. We're located here in just outside of Waco. So we're in Temple, Texas, if you guys know where that's at. So Temple and Belton, right next to Fort Hood and all that good stuff. Yeah, we have a team of 16. I actually got in the business in 2007. So I've been doing this for about 14 years. And started the team in 2011. So I was doing about 100 to 120 transactions a year individually before starting the team. Started the team in 2011. We kind of gradually grown to where we are now, which is pretty cool. So now I think our goals for this year are to do about 310 units, 77 million in volume. And so far we're on pace. This is the first year that I am completely out of production. So I am kind of step back and get to watch everybody else run the ship. So that's been pretty fun. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
Awesome. And so let's go now. Let's have Casey. Casey, so we talked the other day, and you're a lean running machine, following really the MREA model, sitting right at not only just the MREA model, but the MREA 2, sitting right at a 4A. So tell us a little bit about your business and your organizational structure.
So I have, I've had buyer's agents and I've cut back, and we are, it's myself and I'm in production. And then I have 2 licensed admin as well. And they help out where needed. And then we run with a showing assistant.
And then your next hire is going to be?
ISA. I'm in the process. We're so close. We're so close. So I started in the business in 2016 as a dual career agent, and did that for a full year before going into full-time real estate in 2017. In 16 as a dual career agent, I was Rookie of the Year for our market center. So that was kind of my mindset change that I can do this. So I went from there to last year in 20 and part of 21, we did have a buyer's agent on the team, and just didn't work out. And we've kind of regrouped and we're back to just a showing assistant.
So guys, remember, audience, ask any questions you have for the panelists here. Pop them in the chat box. We'll make sure that they get asked as we're going through. And I'm going to ask, let's start with you, Ryan. What's the most important thing that you do on your business every day?
I would say the most important thing that I can do as the leader of the organization is just keep focusing on our vision and values. So to keep pointing the ship in the right direction and keep people focused on what we're after as an organization. I would say that, and I kind of consider all that building part of the culture, right? I mean, so keeping everybody focused on what the team is really about. And then I say being plugged in too. Just, I think, when I'm here, I think it's important for me to be plugged in and understand what's going on in each one of their businesses and in their lives. I think it helps the company as a whole to know that their leaders care about them. And then ultimately that leads each one of them to be, the best version of themselves. And that's really what we're after, So I would say those things, keeping everybody focused on the vision and the values that the company is about, and then being plugged into the team members, how we can serve them and help them.
Love that. Casey, what's the most important thing you do every day?
Show up. That's
Yeah.
it's just me. So I think that just showing up and like Ryan said, being and somebody else in the other panels, being coachable. I do have a MAPS coach. That is one thing that I will stick with. And it's really helped with my mindset and where I need to focus on. And just, I know that by showing up, that I'm setting the example for the next hire.
I love that. That's awesome. Brittany, what's the most important thing you do every day?
I would say every day is just modeling behavior that I want in my team. I work with my husband, so that's very important, that if I'm asking him to do something or requesting someone to do something, I'll do it myself. But I also think I'm big on educating. Don't reinvent the wheel within Keller Williams. There's so many wonderful speakers. There's other agents who have already walked our shoes and have already figured it out. So I love to learn. I think learning how to be a good leader every single day is top notch.
Love that. Love that. So we'll start with you, Brittany. You go back here. What are the main when you're running your team and you're looking at your team, what are the key metrics you're looking at to make sure your team is running efficiently?
Right. So I'm really big at setting the expectations. We do have standards, which everybody knows who's going to be on the team, from the admin to the virtual assistant to social media, everything. It's very allocated. We use, the SMART goal setting, making sure that everybody knows what their expectations are on a daily. Sometimes I can fall short, like most team members. Make sure you inspect what you expect. We get so busy and get out of the business, but you've got to go back and check those, make sure you're pushing the system. Don't push the person. Especially a lot of us that have high D personalities have a hard time because we just want to go in there and say what we want to say and jump back out. It's go back to that system. Okay, remember when you were hired, these are the standards, these are the expectation, here's the job description. Let's go back and see where you think you fall in all of these rounds.
Love that. Okay, so let's take that to as we're getting to that, what metrics, what numbers, Casey, do you monitor, watch? What ones are the key metrics that are the KPIs in your business?
So I track the 4 conversations: listing appointments, listings taking, closed units, and GCI. And those for me are something, obviously being in coaching, is always know your numbers. And I'll be honest with you, when I got in the business, and my broker will tell you that I was not a fan of numbers, and learning how to look at numbers in a different way has helped me grow my business. And that one thing that we've done this year is go by the 12-week year, break that down to your business into quarters. That has really helped me focus. It's not, when I opened up the books and I looked at my transactions and the history behind it, is, Q4, we were killing it, but I was exhausted. So if I can split that up over 3 other quarters, life is just way better at that. So we did it over for Q1, so it was good.
That's awesome. Ryan, what's your KPIs, man? How do you know you're looking and your business is running efficiently?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the same things, right? We're going to track all the appointments and the conversions at those appointments. For our buyer team, and for our ISAs, we're tracking the dials that they make, the number of times they're actually getting in touch with someone. Once they've talked to them, how many of those turn into an appointment and how many of the appointments turn into closing. That way we can kind of figure out where they're struggling. We also, from the back end of our Legion platform, we're there monitoring the metrics of how quickly they're getting in touch with the leads, and then how much they're following up with each one of those leads on a weekly basis. So each team member is meeting with their supervisor once a week, where we're going back, we're reviewing these things, we're making sure that we're meeting the expectations that the team has, and then holding them accountable to those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions in the box. One of them is I'm just going to really ask about the second one. So here we go. Start with you, Casey.
Okay.
How, as you are beginning to work, you got like a showing assistant, you had a buyer's agent before, you're getting an ISA again. How do you get past, how do you make the initial jump past, or did you have any fear about your leads being stolen?
Yeah, that's still a fear. I mean, it is. And it's a fear. And the reason it's a fear is because, I mean, heck, I've had 2 buyer's agents leave. So, I mean, I just have to keep reminding myself that change is good. Change is good. And do I fear about my leads going somewhere else? Yes. But we have to remember that I have to remember that I have created that relationship, that initial relationship, and I have to, you know, make sure. I mean, if they're doing it better, then there's a reason I lost them. So it's just I've got to stay on top of it.
Ryan, what
Can I
about you?
throw something in there about that too? Just because this is something we've been talking about at our organization too. A lot of that is going to come from, for us at least, a lot of it that we've done is it's a focus on how you build the culture. Because, you know, what happened is we had the same thing where we have buyer agents come, and then a lot of times this might have been my friend that, like, I introduced my friend to a buyer's agent, and then they go buy a house. The next thing you know, the buyer's agent leaves, and then my friend goes with them. And I'm like, well, hey, like, wait a minute, like, you were my friend first, you know?
Yeah.
So we've just kind of taken out of the vocabulary of the team that this is my client, because it's not your client. It is our client. We are in this together. You're not the only person that's serving them. There's a whole bunch of other people on this team that are serving them too. And so then once they close, then we begin marketing them back as the team, not just as it's one individual person's, you know. So, I mean, there's no surefire way, but it is interesting that you mentioned that, because we've been kind of working through some of those issues, and that's what we've come up with.
Ryan, one of the things I love about that is just the mindset of having the confidence to say, look, this is our team. This is our client. This is my team and our client, right? Because I think a lot of times issues like that. So from a team leader world, Brittany, you've sat in that chair. So from a team leader world, you know, when you're battling through inner market center conflict over stuff like that, it's really interesting, because I think I see a lot of people who get, when they're first starting to build a team, it's almost like there's a fear to say, this is my team.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there's a lot of walking
ego
around team members, right? And it's like, this is our business, right? And it's great to say, this is our lead. It's not your lead, it's our lead, because this is my business. I love that.
It's a lot of we.
I was gonna say, oh, sorry, Casey. I think that a lot of real estate, and I've been in it for a long time, I think 99% of real estate is mindset. So we all have insecurities. I'm not an emotional person. I have to check myself. And I tell myself this probably 47 times a day: come from abundance. The minute that creeps in, that you think someone's going to leave, come from abundance. Because I feel like if they need it so bad and it wants to go with them, then let it be. I'm going to spend my time and energy not worrying about the lead I'm going to lose. I'm going to spend my time and energy worrying about the 4 other ones that I'm going to gain. And I've had the same thing. I've had a lot of turnover with buyer's agents and things. I've had, you know, strong team agreements, and I still don't get my 50%. But if I spend that energy too long, I just have my select few that I vent to, and then I move on. Some will, some won't. So what next? And I think that I'm constantly checking myself for that mindset, because if not, it is hard, and you can spin your wheels and dwell on that a lot. So me, even being a seasoned agent, I still do. And Tommy, being team leader, accelerated everything I needed to know about running a team. So thanks.
Love that. Okay, so we have somebody that says they have several people looking to join them, but they want to make sure that they have a successful process in place. So what is the first step in beginning to build a team? Let's start with you, Ryan.
I think that the first step in beginning to build the team is going to be making sure that you have the first off, I wouldn't start building a team until I am doing everything that I can do individually, right? I don't think there's any point in going out and bringing in all these other people if you're not already running at a high capacity or at red line kind of, which, you know, I would say that's probably in the 50 to 60 deals range is my ballpark idea, is what I would say individually. But, and then I would say that's going to begin with your first administrative hire. But I think you have to really begin with the end in mind and think about, okay, where am I wanting to grow this, and what is this really going to look like long term? So identifying what are the values that you have as an individual, and what do you want your company to stand for? And when you make that first hire, making sure you bring somebody that's going to really align with the values that you already have as an individual. Because if you don't do that, it just leads to so many other problems and train wrecks and explosions later on down the road. So I would say it would be best to start with that admin hire, and then be thinking about, you are building a culture. You have to be intentional about that. If you think that you're just building the wrong kind of culture, right? So the culture is there. You need to be very intentional about that. And this is speaking as someone who has had a team blow up on them like 2 or 3 times, right? Where you get, build it big and then it blows up, and then you learn these lessons going, oh, wow, I'm an idiot. Like I was doing that all wrong. So anyways, that's what I would say.
I love that. I love that. So Casey, what's the first step somebody needs to follow? What's the first step they should make?
KPA.
Okay.
Yeah. Run and stick to it. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about your hire. And I'm guilty. I've done it before, looked at it, and I'm like, oh, they're so nice. They're going to be so great. Such a fit. She's going to be perfect. And then she's not, because it's individual agent is number 1 on KPA. So it's just believe it, stick to it, and just move forward.
Love that.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I remember my wife and I, the first time we took Recruit Select before CV, we took it together, and we were actually hiring our first nanny for our baby girls. Actually what happened was that we had a nanny. We came home from day 1 of Recruit Select, and our nanny said, I need to turn in my resignation. So we had to find a new one. And honestly, you talk about following it to a T. Teresa was calling. We had somebody we loved. We were ready to hire, but Teresa was calling their references, went 3 deep on the 3rd one. And the 3rd person on the 3rd reference said, well, the only thing I would say would be blah, blah, blah. And that was absolutely one of the biggest things we said from the beginning that was a deal killer for us. And then going back and looking through that process, we realized, oh yeah, that we see how that's kind of been there, and we just didn't want to see it because we were hiring. So I love that, Casey. Brittany, you got anything to add on that? What's the first step?
I would say, again, don't reinvent the wheel. Follow the MREA, follow the systems and models that KW has laid out, and make sure, one of the things I would say as agents, we tend to be chaotic people. Make sure that you have some systems in place for your own business, some checklist, Asana, Brevity, any kind of checklist, a manual. Start doing something first before you just hire somebody. So
love that.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Now, guys, I'll tell you that there are 9 systems that every agent needs to have in their business, right? There are buyer systems, seller systems, lead gen, marketing, right? We need to have transaction management, listing management systems. We need to have financial systems that are in place. We need to have client care systems and growth systems. How are we going to hire? KPA is really your growth system, CV, right? You have those 9 systems, and the best thing you can do in beginning to think about building a team, in my opinion, is sit down and take each one of those topics and just write on a piece of paper or a whiteboard. Buyer system. From the time I get a buyer lead to the time they're under contract, what do I do with the buyer? From the time I get a seller lead to the time they're under contract, what do I do with the seller? Because you can always find somebody to go put that in there. Go put that in command for you, or go take care of that. But you're the person that knows the processes of your business. Get them on paper, get them on a whiteboard, get them where somebody can take them and make them automatic for you. All right, so we had Casey, we had a specific question for you because you claimed you threw out there, you have 2 licensed admin, and if Brittany, Ryan, you guys have a licensed admin as well. Casey, what tasks, what are your licensed admin doing that really require them to have a license? What license tasks are they doing for you?
So first of all, anybody that joins our team has to be licensed. That is a standard for us. And that being said is because to be able to talk real estate, if I need to leverage our staff any way possible, in every way possible, if a call comes in, they can answer those calls. most of the time, it's leverage, obviously, for the agent. They go and open the doors for inspectors. They go and they may accompany a buyer for their final walkthrough. They talk real estate to everybody, and they're able to talk to the title companies and get information that they need.
Love that. Anything y'all want to add, Brittany, Ryan, to that?
Showing houses. That's the biggest one. If they're a licensed assistant, you need to go open a door, show a house. That's what that's for.
Love that. Love that as well. Okay, so we have, do you guys pay your admins a salary or per deal like a TC or a hybrid?
I have a hybrid. So I do base pay, and then I do transactional bonus because my executive assistant is also my TC.
Love that.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
about
we do all salary.
all salary?
I'm hybrid.
Hybrid. Okay. And so we had another question where, and I'll kind of add to this. Somebody said, where do you put a transaction coordinator into your hiring process? Where in that process do they go? So, and maybe adding on top of that, do you use a virtual transaction coordinator, or have you in your business at a time while you built to put one on your team full-time?
Mine's in office.
In office?
Yeah, both of mine. So I have admin that's here at the office, and then I also do have one that is here and does the TC side of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're all in-house.
Yep. We have 3 transaction coordinators all in-house. Yep.
And I think TC is really the first leverage point when it comes to real estate. If you're starting to get a little overwhelmed and busy, and you're not ready for the full effect of bringing someone officially on your team, or you don't want to take the obligation, a TC is a real good trial run.
I love that. I think that it's a virtual assistant and a virtual transaction coordinator. It's a little bit, they will help you get back time. They may not necessarily grow your business, right? Yeah. So those things, what those do is they'll give you time so that you can in turn see, can I now turn up the faucet? Can I now turn up activity? Can I increase revenue? Can I increase business so that I can do it? However, I would just say, don't expect a virtual assistant, don't expect a virtual transaction coordinator to necessarily help you grow your business.
Yeah.
That's when you get them in-house. I think that's when you really see your business begin to expand and grow. However, I agree, Brittany, it's a great opportunity to see, okay, now that I have some of this off my plate, do I have what it takes to really turn faucets up and make more things happen?
Well, and anytime that if they're out of the office, a lot of times it's hard to get them into your culture, right? I mean, it can be done. I think there's people that have done it, but it's probably more challenging.
Yeah.
And you might learn a lot from a TC, especially your in-house TC. For some of us that don't have our systems in place yet, those TCs do. So if you're hiring one from the market center, you might use them a couple of times and learn a little bit. So
who on your team creates or does your social media for you? Start with you, Casey.
Admin. Well, I don't have that delegate. I don't have my marketing delegated, but one of my ladies does it for us.
Okay.
But that is also a reason also the reason for the ISA hire is when those Facebook leads and stuff come in, she can take those off the plate.
Right. Awesome.
And then I have a dedicated full-time social media manager. He does a lot of different things. I run some community pages, so he finds content. I have some giving back, type Facebook pages. He finds content, develops that. He does the advertising, just listed, just sold. He utilizes a lot of that. But with Canva now and with design, it's so easy to kind of put a little bit of that on an admin's plate if you're hiring that way.
Yeah.
So is he's kind of a shared service as you use some wearing multiple hats as you go through that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's not shared services. He's my full-time VA, but those are just the tasks in place for him.
Yeah. Same for us. We've got full-time marketing person here on staff. We call her our director of WOW. So she's there. She gets and does all of our social media, all of our just listed, just sold, all that kind of stuff. But she's also there. One of her other job tasks is to identify people that we have served in the past and make meaningful impressions on our past clients on a daily basis. So that's kind of wrapped up into the marketing side of it. But yeah, that's her dedicated thing.
So what do you mean by that, Ryan? Do you mind?
So like for example, we on our Facebook page, we have like our past clients. So every person that we sell a house to, we put them in a past client group on Facebook. And then when Sally comes to work every day, she can go to Facebook and only pull up a Facebook feed that is only our past clients. So like they don't see anything else. Like, but it's like if Junior scored a goal in a soccer game, or Mitch hit a home run, well then like Mitch will get a card from Ryan Smith Homeselling team in the mail that says, "Hey, congratulations on your home run. That was a great hit," or something like that, And so we do a couple of those on a daily basis, and past clients love them because it's like you're like dialed into their life is how they feel, And so the downside sometimes is because if it's signed for me, every once in a while they're like, "Ryan, thank you so much for that card." I'm like, "You're so welcome." So I have gotten in trouble once or twice, but overall it's been great. So.
All right, guys. So one last question I will go through. I'll start with you, Casey. I would love to hear, when it comes to growing your business, leading your team, running your business, what is one thing you've done that we all need to go do?
It's probably not the answer you're looking for, but when you're growing a team, you do not need to be afraid to fail. Failure builds you. So the way I look at it is, by me failing forward, it's broke my systems. We've had to rebuild systems. That's been huge, and that's helped. We've seen where we needed to grow. But yeah, if you're starting a team, don't have that mindset that, "Oh my gosh, what if I fail?" You're gonna fail. It's inevitable. You're going to do it. So just pick up the pieces and get back to it.
Love that. That's awesome. Ryan.
I would say it's focusing on the importance of culture in your organization. So I think for many years, personally, I didn't do that and still sold a bunch of houses, but I just kept coming to work, just banging my head against the wall, being so frustrated. Like, why are we having all these problems and infighting and just like drama, and, you're having to let people go and all this kind of stuff. And then when you really build the culture by aligning with the values, and then what I like to do is push as many of the decisions that our company makes down to the lowest level possible, so everybody's got a say in what decision gets made. What happens is people begin to take ownership of the culture, and then it doesn't have to be me doing everything. Like last year, I was gone 4.5 months with the military. Like I wasn't even here, and they're running it and doing everything, And it's because you kind of groom those leaders in your company who are passionate about what you're doing. And you're passionate about the values and the vision of the company, that I don't have to be there to babysit them every step of the way. So I would say just focusing on building that culture, because that's the real difference maker.
All right, Brittany, bring us home. What's the one thing you've done we all need to go do right now?
Treat this like a business. Real estate is not a hobby, unless you want it to be a hobby. Then it can be a hobby. Treat this like a business. I think we're one of the only industries that doesn't wake up every morning like, you're a CEO. This is a business. How would, the Walmart Corporation, American Airlines, whoever, how would they run this business? And that's how you run it.
That's great.
Thank you, guys. I want to thank all three of you. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Brittany.